Hello guys and welcome back to another SCP review. As always, all information is taken directly from the SCP Wiki. So let's start her off. SCP-002 is a Euclid class SCP. This SCP resembles a tumorous fleshy growth with a volume of roughly 60 meters cubed. An iron valve hatch on one side leads to its interior, which appears to be a standard low-rent apartment of modest size. On one wall, there is a single window, though no such opening is visible on the exterior. The room also contains furniture, which upon closer examination appears to be sculpted from bones, woven hair, and various other biological substances produced by the human body. All the matter tested thus far show independent or fragmented DNA sequences for each object in the room. To date, this subject has been responsible for the disappearance of several personnel. It has also been in its time in the facility, further furnishing itself. The items include 2 lamps, a throw rug, a television, a radio, a beanbag, 3 books in foreign languages, 4 children's toys, and a small potted plant. Tests with a variety of lab animals, including higher primates, have failed to provide a response from SCP-002. Whatever process the subject uses to convert organic matter into furnishings is apparently only facilitated by the introduction of living humans. SCP-002 is to remain connected to a suitable power supply at all times, to keep it in what appears to be a recharging mode. In case of an electrical outage, the emergency barrier between the object and the facility is to be closed, and the immediate area evacuated. Once power to the facility has been re-established, alternating bursts of X-ray and UV light must strobe the area until SCP-002 is reaffixed to the power supply and returned to the recharging mode. Containment area is to be kept at a negative air pressure at all times. Teams include a minimum of 2 personnel and are required to be within 20 meters of SCP-002 or its containment area. Personnel should maintain physical contact with one another at all times to confirm there is another person present, as perception may be dulled, skewed, or influenced by the proximity of the object. No personnel below Level 3 are permitted within SCP-002. This requirement may be waived via written authorization from 2 off-site Level 4 administrators. Command staff issued such a waiver must be escorted by at least 5 Level 3 security personnel for the duration of their contact and must temporarily surrender their rank and security clearance. Following contact, command staff will be escorted at least 5 kilometers from SCP-002 to undergo a 72-hour quarantine and psychological evaluation. If deemed fit for return to duty by a psych officer, rank and security clearance may be restored when quarantine expires. The following is a brief report detailing the discovery of SCP-002. The subject was discovered in a small crater in northern Portugal, where it struck the Earth from orbit. Encased in a shell of thick rock, the fleshy exterior of the object was exposed by impact. A native farmer happened upon the site and reported his findings to the village elder. Subject gained SCP's attraction when a Level 4 agent posted in the area detected the small radioactive anomaly generated by the object. A collection squad of SCP security personnel, led by General Mulhausen, was immediately dispatched to the area, where they quickly secured the subject in a large container and performed initial testing, with the subject recruiting from the nearby village. 3 men, individually sent into the structure, subsequently disappeared. Upon discovery of this deadly property of the subject, General Mulhausen issued a Level 4A termination order of any witnesses. This included roughly 1/3 of the entire village. This was to ensure that no outside knowledge of the object or its transport to an SCP facility was found out. During preparation for the transport, 4 SCP security personnel were inexplicably drawn inside the object, where they too immediately disappeared. Following inspection, it appeared as the object had grown several new furnishings and was beginning to look like the interior of an apartment room. General Mulhausen immediately ordered the requisition of several Class 3 hazmat suits for the remaining security team members, who then proceeded to lift the container onto the waiting freight ship for transport to an undisclosed SCP containment facility. Unfortunately, a large portion of data has been expunged from the records, so you'll have to let your imagination run wild with what happened after this. The final bit of data recorded states the following. Following the termination of General Mulhausen, SCP-002 was resecured by SCP staff and brought into special containment in, once again, a classified location, where it currently resides. Staff with a clearance below Level 3 have been denied access to the SCP-002 container without prior approval of at least 2 Level 4 staff after the Mulhausen incident. And thus brings an end to the SCP-002 story thus far. Overall, this SCP is a very unique and interesting SCP. I believe it's deserving of an 8 out of 10 for its uniqueness factor and its cool backstory. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and tune in next time as we look at SCP-003